Hello there, Eddie Mercado here with BloodyElbow.com, and today I will be speaking with UFC bantamweight Matthew Lopez as he is headed to UFC on Fox 29 in Glendale, Arizona to take on Alejandro Perez. So let's give Lopez a call and find out what he's been up to since his fight with Rafael Assunção, find out what it's like training under the legendary coach Trevor Wittman, and maybe what he has in store for his return to Arizona. Mr. Matthew Lopez, how are you, sir?
Doing great. Can't complain. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for taking out the time. You are currently 10-2 in your mixed martial arts journey, headed into your 5th UFC fight, taking on Alejandro Perez. UFC on Fox 29, April 14th. How are things?
Everything's good, man. Just training my ass off and getting prepared for the biggest fight of my life.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you still training with Coach Trevor Wittman out there in Colorado?
I wouldn't leave him for all the amount of money in the world.
Yeah, I hear that. I'm actually a huge fan of Trevor Wittman. I've had the pleasure of interviewing him in the past, and he's just so passionate, and he really cares about his fighters. You know, I know he's trained so many world champions, and he's doing the equipment business with Onyx and really revolutionizing the fight gear, basically.
Yeah.
And I also know that he doesn't train people, he doesn't coach people unless he really believes in them. So what's the story of how you kind of met Trevor and that relationship started?
So everything you said was spot on as far as him. So after my first UFC fight against Ronnie Yaya, I called Justin Gaethje, and because we grew up together, same town. My dad was his wrestling coach, so we've known each other for a long time. So after my first loss, I called him and I said, things need to change. I need more structure. I need to figure some stuff out. So can I come train with you out in Colorado? And he's like, yeah. So I came out here for a week and a half, and it wasn't anything Justin was doing in particular. He doesn't do anything that other champions do. You know what I mean? He wasn't like doing this special thing. It was Trevor. It was 100% Trevor Wittman. And I remember after like the second or third day, and I asked Justin, I said, what's it going to take for Trevor to coach me? And he kind of looks at me. He's like, man, I don't know, And I was like, whatever it takes, like he's if I have to pay him more than what normally people pay him, if whatever I have to do, I'm in, because that guy gave me some not a gut feeling, like a wholehearted feeling, you know what I mean? Just when you connect with somebody, and it's like it's life-changing. And that's how I felt the second practice with this guy. And I was like, holy shit, I want to work with this. I want to work for him, you know what I mean? So at the end of my stay here in Colorado, I was like, Justin, whatever it takes. And like I said, me and Justin are childhood friends. So Justin was just working on him and working on him and working on him. And then finally, at the last day, I go into his office and he goes, this is kind of how I run things. And I go, if I don't give a shit, like if he wants me to wear a fucking pink tight shirt to practice every day, I'll do it. And so he said yes. It was a lot of convincing from Justin, because that was the time that his equipment stuff was really starting to pick up. So it's just me, Rose, Nate, and Justin pretty much. So I'm very, very thankful and fortunate that he said yes, because he changed my life, not only my mixed martial arts career, but my life. I love that guy. So I have so much respect and admiration for him. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so he came on right before your Mitch Gagnon fight, right?
Yes, sir. And that was only at 6 weeks. I only had him for 6 weeks for that camp.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. Well,
it was because I was out here, and then I went home to California, and I was there for like 3 days, and that's when I got the call from the UFC. And then I got the call. The next 2 days I spent packing, and then I drove out here.
Okay, so the Johnny Eduardo fight was your first real camp with Trevor.
Full camp with him. Yep.
Okay, and that seemed to pay dividends. Of course, you got him
It did.
Eduardo out of there really quickly. So your last fight, UFC Norfolk, you find yourself against, at the time, the number 4 guy in the world. So, I mean, 4 years into your career, you're already facing one of the winningest bantamweights in UFC history.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that was maybe a little too much too soon, or was it kind of like the test you felt like you really needed?
It was a test I needed for sure. How I speak upon this fight and everything is that he didn't outclass me. He didn't bombard me. He didn't throw anything that was like crazy. I didn't feel like when I left the cage that like I wasn't on his level. I tell people if I would have fought him a week later and made the adjustments that I should have made during the fight, I would have beat him. You know, I should have been a lot more aggressive as far as my takedown, and I feel like I should have put the pressure on him more. But he's a seasoned veteran, like you said. He's been at the top of this game for so long. Minor mistakes against him will cost you dearly. So I don't feel like it was too fast. I feel like it was perfect timing because it didn't hurt my ego. It didn't hurt my pride. It almost gave me a boost knowing that 11 fights into my career, I fought one of the best in the world. And I did fairly well against him, you know what I mean? So it actually gave me a boost of confidence going forward, knowing that I know I could have made a few adjustments, and I fought him a week later, and I would have won that fight. So, yeah, I'm happy it played out the way it did, and you just move on, make adjustments.
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't get too much higher up than Rafael Assunção, you know.
No.
So
as far as the staple in that division, you know. So
yeah, he was really chopping away with the inside leg kicks. Did they hurt as bad as it looked? Because it looked really bad. But was it like, you know, debilitating? Were you like limping for a week or anything?
Not at all. When you see like Justin Gaethje is one of my teammates. Edson Barbosa does it. When they kick the outside of your leg, that's more debilitating because it's your thigh muscle. That's what contracts everything. When it's on the inside, there's really not a lot of like muscle firing that goes on there. It's not debilitating. It was like someone slapping you in the stomach over and over and over in the same spot. It's irritating more than debilitating. The next day and the following days, did it hurt? Hell yeah. But during the fight, it didn't. It scored big time for him, but it didn't affect the way that I was fighting.
Okay. Do you think that's something maybe you want to implement into your arsenal? Maybe start chopping people down in a similar way? Because I know Gaethje, like that's one of his MOs is to come out and just chop people down.
Yeah, I think that my style, I don't know if I'm necessarily that kind of guy, but it's something that is definitely effective. So to use those a little bit, not as much, but to use that, yes, for sure.
Yeah, one of the great wrestlers to grace the sport, Dan Henderson, he was big on, even Randy Couture did this. They threw the inside leg kick to overhand right.
Overhand right, yeah.
And that was just catching everybody. Like,
yeah.
It's such, the inside leg kick is pretty sweet as far as setting up other strikes. It's kind of cool.
And it's definitely underutilized, but the thing is that with the inside leg kick, it's easier to check. You know what I mean? And getting a leg kick check hurts like a motherfucker. So, yeah, it's just how you approach the game and your tactics behind it. So it's definitely a good tool.
So the event was in Norfolk, Virginia, which is like literally 5 miles from where I'm at now. And
Oh, wow.
I always wonder this when people come here. I mean, like, what is there to do? Like, is there anything to do coming to Norfolk, Virginia?
The highlight of that trip was we visited a place called Bees and what was it called? Bees and Honey, or it was a breakfast spot.
Okay.
And it was, and I love biscuits and gravy. Biscuits and gravy is my go-to. And that place blew my mind. It was amazing. It looked like a house, like a house on the side of the street with a bunch of cars in front of it. So other than that, we didn't really get to explore or do a lot. But yeah, that was the highlight of my trip. But man, I've been to Brazil and been in hostile territory where people telling me you're gonna die. Those fans in Norfolk were, because it's a lot of military,
Yeah.
So those dudes were hostile, man, against their own people. I'm born and raised in America, and they were like giving us shit. So that was a hostile crowd.
Interesting. That's. I wonder why that was. That's
just a bunch of drunk military.
It's. I guess it's part of the game, though. That's for sure.
100%.
So now you're heading into UFC on Fox 29, and you're going from Rafael Assunção to Alejandro Perez.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to do to mentally prepare yourself, knowing that I'm facing someone who is not on the same level as the guy I just faced, but you don't want to sleep on him? You still want to show him that respect and train just as hard as you did for Assunção. Like, what are some of the things you have to do to prepare yourself for that?
I'll be honest with you. I think this is a harder fight than Assunção.
Really?
The reason being is that Alejandro Perez has that warrior mentality, that Mexican lion heart mentality, where you basically have to kill him in there to put him away. You know what I mean? Assunção was a little bit more tactical, and he's a little bit more. He's a little bit more like he's a point fighter. He's got a lot of decision wins, and he knows how to win the decision. This guy really fights. He's going to come out there to try to knock my head off and take me out, and I know 100% he's going to be there for the whole 15 minutes. You know what I mean? So I'm going to have to do something where I really either put his lights out, or either I choke him out or I knock him out. So that's the only way you get him out of there. He's not going to wilt away or quit So I'm going into this with the mindset that he's the toughest opponent that I've had to face, which I truly believe that's true. So I don't think that when you go into these fights that one guy is lesser than another guy. I think that they just bring different challenges, and I think this guy's what he hangs his hat on is how tough he is. You know what I mean? How his warrior spirit. So, and it's hard to break someone that has a warrior spirit.
Yeah, that's something he really doesn't do is break. I mean, we've seen him get dropped multiple times in the same fight, come back and pick up the split decision. So exactly. He's definitely tough, and he's definitely tough enough to hang around for 3 rounds straight.
100%.
But with that being said, do you have any kind of prediction or how you see this fight exactly playing out?
I think it's just going to be a dogfight until I put him to sleep. That's how I kind of see it. You know, I've been growing. A lot of people in this sport get to a point where they only make growth whenever they fight or they lose a fight, or you know what I mean, when they have time to reflect on stuff. Every single day that I talk to Trevor, that I practice with Trevor, that I interact with Trevor, I get better. You know what I mean? I'm so young in this sport. I have so much growth, and I see it after every single training session, after every sparring session, after every run. All these little things add up, and they're adding up not in small increments. They're like big explosions. That's how I feel. So this fight, obviously you're going to see a new me, but I've just been putting the tools together to be able to finish these guys on my feet, on the mat. So I don't think this fight's going to be let out to the judges. I 100% truly believe that I'm gonna finish him. Either he's going to sleep on his feet or he's going to sleep on his back, but one way or another, I believe he's going to sleep.
Fair enough. Now, unlike Norfolk, Virginia, you're heading back to Arizona, your home state, 4-time wrestling champion. I mean, these are your people. What are you? You got to be stoked.
How cool is that?
Yeah, man. So, what are you expecting? What do you expect? A big turnout or?
So when me and Justin grew up in the same town, Safford, Arizona, and then I ended up moving to Tucson where I continued my wrestling career, and then I went to ASU in Tempe. So I have, 3 different areas of Arizona that I covered that I've made friends, lifetime friends with. So I have family all over the place. Shit's gonna be nuts. All my friends and family are coming. People are hitting up for tickets. That whole spiel. But not only that, Justin has all our friends and everybody else that's coming with him. So between Justin and I, it's just going to be it's going to be fucking insane, to be honest with you. I'm excited for this. So it's a little bit of a daunting task though. When I went to Brazil and I fought Johnny Eduardo, I had zero pressure on me. You know what I mean? As far as like having any fans or friends or any family there, Here, you have that whole thing, that whole build up for fight week. People want to come see you. People want to say hi to you. You know what I mean? That's a lot of not pressure, but stress.
Distractions.
Exactly. Distractions that you really don't need. So I'm curious to see how it all plays out. But I'm just excited that, my grandma and grandpa and my aunts and uncles, they get to see me do it on the biggest stage in the world. So that's what's exciting for me, and fighting alongside Justin. I think that's pretty cool if you really consider where the area we come from.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love Justin Gaethje's story. I've spoken to him in the past. Awesome character, great ambassador for the sport, and really handles business inside of the cage as well.
Oh yeah.
Well, let me ask you about that really fast. I obviously you're picking Justin Gaethje, but how do you see the Poirier fight playing out exactly?
Poirier is a tough cookie. I think he leaves himself open to some things. I think he overextends himself on some stuff, and I don't think Justin's gonna put him away real quick. I think it's gonna be late second round, early third round, where people don't understand the pressure and the punishment Justin puts on you, and until you are in front of him, you know what I mean? You can watch it, but you don't get the feeling. There's like a feeling inside your gut where you're like, fuck, when's this round going to end? And the minute Dustin Poirier says that in his head, it's over. So it's all on Poirier whenever he feels like, all right, I can't break this guy, and I don't know. And what usually happens to my opponents is not happening. It's soul crushing. So I think it's going to be a good fight for the first 2 rounds, and then it's the inevitable. You know what I mean? It's Justin. He's just going to break you down.
Fair enough. I can't wait to see it. It's definitely going to be exciting. Yep. 2 warriors down to Nuck, basically.
Yep.
All right. Well, let me ask.
And I have utmost respect for Poirier. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
But I just don't think that he can handle that. I don't think anybody can really.
Gaethje's a force, man. He really is. Well, your other training partner, Rose Namajunas, the queen of the UFC strawweight division. She's giving Joanna the rematch. How do you see that one going down?
I think Rose's biggest asset is she's like the Hulk. So, sorry about that. Are you there? Can you see me?
Yep.
So, my bad. Sorry. What did I just do here?
You flipped it around. You got to hit the little. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So she's like the Hulk, but in a different sense. She's like the Hulk when when her mentality goes green and she knows and she feels that she can win and she's got that confidence, I honestly don't think there's a person on this planet that could beat her. Coming off the win that she just came off of and the way she did it, she's pure Hulk mode now. You know what I mean? She's pure green. Like, she's pure, like, big, scary animal kind of person. So with that mentality, I see it playing out a lot of the same way it played out the first fight. Trevor's such a genius. I'm sure he's put some new wrinkles into the arsenal. And I'm sure Joanna has, because she's such a high-level competitor. So I'm curious to see how the two made changes, and to see that how it turns out during the fight. I think the result's going to be the same way, but I'm curious to see the lead up, the build up to the end result. So obviously I got Rose. I just don't know how it's going to end, because people forget how deadly Rose is on the ground as well. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm curious to see myself, but obviously I got Rose.
Do you get nervous when you see your teammates fighting?
Justin, Rose is a quasi-teammate. We see her every once in a while, but she usually trains at 303 with a bunch of those other ladies. Mm-hmm. So we don't interact a lot, but I've never been so nervous. When Justin fought Johnson, I was in the front row fucking pacing back and forth, like pissing all the other UFC fighters off because I was in their way and they couldn't see. But, man, that guy, especially because the way he fights, it's not like I don't know, man. Yeah, he gives me heart attacks for sure.
Yeah, Gaethje goes to war.
Yeah, so I definitely get nervous, but it's that whole you have no control over anything. So that's what it is. Even when I used to coach wrestling, like all my little guys, I used to get so nervous on their big matches because, you know, I have no control over anything that goes on out there. It's them. So yeah, I definitely get nervous.
I guess it's natural, you know.
Yeah, especially the people you care. It's only for people you care about. Like, if you have nothing invested in the fight, then you're just like, kill. You just want to someone get put to sleep. You know what I mean? Like a fan. But when it's someone that you cry with, you bleed with, you sweat with, you cut weight with, someone that cares about you so much, you know what I mean? Like you just want all the success for them, and you don't want anything bad to happen. So.
Yeah, I mean, I feel nothing close to the same sort of feeling, but when I have the fighters that, you know, I've been watching forever, and I've seen fight after fight after fight, and then, like, it's happened with two people, and they're finally squaring off, and I'm just like, like, I don't, there's times where I don't even want the fight to happen.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but you, I'm sure you build special connections with certain fighters where over the years you've interviewed them, and you've talked to them, and you've seen them, and you interacted with them so many times, you kind of feel a little bit of a bond there, you know.
Yeah,
I mean?
Absolutely.
That's the stuff I'm talking about. Is that you just like you're invested.
And like, there's really no other sport where it's that critical, like it's that serious. Like people's lives are on the line out there.
Yep. But, and that's the thing. Even boxing is. How many interviews do you see with a guy that was on Mayweather's undercard? You don't even know who's on Mayweather's undercard till 2 weeks before, you know what I mean? And you can never really build that emotional connection with him. But for the UFC, you know, everybody has a certain somebody in that position, you know what I mean? You build these connections, or the fans see that I did an interview with you, or I did an interview with someone else, and they start to feel this connection, or they feel it with my opponent, you know? So boxing is the only thing that I could think of that you really put your life on the line, but people don't feel that same connection with boxers. I don't feel it. You know what I mean? And I'm a big boxing fan, so I don't feel it with any of those guys.
Floyd was probably the last guy that I really had that connection with.
Yeah.
But I mean, not obviously not for the Conor fight, but like when he was really boxing.
Yeah.
Well, what's next for you, man? UFC on Fox 29, Alejandro Perez. What do you want after that? Do you even care, or you want to get back to the top 15?
Rankings don't mean shit in this sport. I figured that out the hard way. Not the hard way. I figured that out. That rankings are political. The fight is 100% genuine, and you go out there and you put it all on the line. But whoever's making these fucking rankings needs to get their head out of their ass, because they're so far off. It's outrageous. What's next is I want to run through Alejandro Perez, and then I want to get on International Fight Week. So one step at a time, take care of this big task at hand, and then I'll be looking forward to having another interview with you, and we'll go from there. Talk about the next buster I'm going to dust.
Sounds good. Well, what are your sponsors? Who are these people that are helping you out, having your back? You want to give them a quick shout out?
Man, I don't have sponsors. I have American Ethanol, who helps me out greatly, and that is about it. Other than that, the people that help me out the most, my girlfriend of 6 years, my family, my training partners, Rakan, obviously Justin, Joe Guerrero, coaches Trevor, my strength and conditioning coach, Nate Smock at Glendale Performance. These are the people that are putting everyday grinds in with me, and those are the people that mean the most to me, you know what I mean? So I thank them from the bottom of my heart. Without them, I ain't shit.
Love it, man. Absolutely love it. I noticed you mentioned your girlfriend first. Is that because she's sitting next to you? No, I'm just kidding.
My girlfriend always comes first, I don't think people realize how hard it is to succeed in this sport without the outside factors. You know what I mean? She takes all the stress out of my life, as far as she cooks my meals. You know what I mean? That's huge. Like, she knows my diet, taxes, all my medicals she sets up. She makes this process so simple for me, meaning all I have to do is train my ass off. You know what I mean? When I come home from training, she's there to make sure that I need everything. If I need to run, she gets on my ass about running or training or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? And to have someone like that, it's crucial. It's very crucial, So, yeah, she's number one.
It really does take a village. It really does.
100%. And some of these guys that are out here grinding and doing it on their own, like, fuck, I don't know. Props to them for sure, because it's hard, man. It's hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for the one or two people who are not already following you on social media, how can they get at you? What's your Twitter handle, Instagram, all that jazz?
Twitter, Matthew Lopez 135. Instagram, Matthew Lopez 135. And I think Snapchat's just Matt Lopez, I believe.
Awesome.
But, yeah, you can see some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. It's mostly my bulldog, but...
I feel like that's what most Snapchats are everyone's dogs anyway.
Yeah, and I'm the dog parent that thinks my dog's better than everybody else's dog.
I can't say anything. My dog has his own Facebook. It's like I can't even.
I struggle with that. I was like, yeah, I need it. My dog's name's Chapo.
Nice.
He's a little fat black bulldog, and I was like, I think I want to make an Instagram for him, but I don't really want to be that person.
I got an enormous wiener dog named Sheffield, and he's just the coolest little dude ever. Just the most positive organism I know. He had to have his own Facebook.
It's the coolest thing when you come home from a long day and they don't give a shit. They're just so happy to see you.
It's the best.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, Matthew Lopez, thank you so much for taking out the time. Alejandro Perez is in your crosshairs. UFC on Fox 29, Glendale, Arizona, April 14th. Best of luck to you, sir.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So there you have it. UFC bantamweight Matthew Lopez headed into UFC on Fox 29, taking on Alejandro Perez. That's going down in Glendale, Arizona on April 14th. Go check that out. In the meantime, you can read me over at bloodyelbow.com. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheEddieMercado. If you like this interview, smash the like button. That's the thumbs up down below. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel right there. Subscribe to Bloody Elbow's YouTube channel right here. Check out those interviews right there. Now go be a good person.